Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Unlocking You 2.0. Once again, it's Balwinder and Spencer here, your emotion and body co-practitioner and your transformational leadership coach, coming back at you with another episode about how we can really improve your life and get you to unlock your 2.0, right? So today's video is all about being a perpetual student and always being a student, no matter what stage of life you're in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pass this right over to you, Balwinder. Like, what kind of principles, what things can we talk about as far as being a student? Is there anything conscious that we can think about with regards to this?
Honestly, Spencer, there isn't nothing conscious. There's nothing to talk about.
Cool.
We've all learned everything we need to, right?
We're
There's
done.
that's gonna be on the video right now.
Yeah. Cut it out.
um, so like when we talk about this and we say, "Hey, always be a student," people are like, "Yeah, well, that's obvious, right? You should always be learning."
Yeah.
But the reality is, even though that's obvious, people don't practice that. And in fact, I'm not going to name any names, but I've had coaching clients in the past where you try to coach them or you work with them and they're like, yeah, I already know that. I'm like, well, why aren't you doing it? It's like, oh, it's okay. I already know it. It's
Yeah.
like, but just because you know it doesn't, like, you have to apply it. And if you don't know how to apply it, then you have to learn how to apply it, right? Like, that's like saying, hey, I know the winning numbers to the lottery, but I'm not going to play them because,
Yeah.
I don't
A
need to win the
statement.
lottery,
A
right?
statement.
So,
A statement that
or
comes to mind is, sorry to interrupt.
no,
A
no,
statement that really comes to mind is to know and not to do is
yeah,
not to know, right?
exactly, exactly,
I think it's Leo Viscalia that says that. Like,
yeah.
just anyway, continue.
It's awesome. So, it's like knowing the alphabet, but saying, yeah, I'm not going to use the vowels. I don't need the vowels. Um, Look, our life is all about learning. In fact, my religious belief, the word "sick" means disciple of God.
Mm,
It means a disciple, means to learn. Um, so as we go through life, things will change, things will come up. As long as we have an open mind and we continue to learn, we can overcome any obstacle, any challenge life throws at us, as long as we're willing to learn. And so ask yourself do I continue to learn? Okay, do I continue to learn everywhere I need to, whether it's being a better parent or whether it's being um, a better person individually, or whether it's taking care of your health better? What are you doing to learn, right? And then not only once you learn, are you applying it? So there's that factor that, look, let's just always keep an open mind, always be a sponge ready to absorb more, always be a sponge, absorb more, take in more and learn more. It will make you a better person.
totally.
But being a sponge and not applying it, maybe that's a different segment altogether that we need to have a discussion about. Um, so the next thing I want to just quickly mention is, learning is an ongoing journey. We're always doing it, but who are you learning from, right? Are you learning from the right places? Are you learning from the right people? Are you learning the things that apply to your life? Or are you just looking at other people's lives and saying, oh, so, look at their life. Oh, geez, look at mine. Because when you just compare, you're not really learning. You're taking the wrong information. You're using it the wrong way. So you want to make sure you're going after the right information. Um, and I'll tell you, this world is crazy. You know, you can take any study that you want and you skew the questions, you skew the polling, you only ask certain people, and people can give you whatever results they want. So a lot of times I'll be reading a news article and I'll be like, no way, what? And then I'm like, okay, hold on, let me fact check and figure out who actually did this article or where did this study come from. And you start fact checking and sometimes you just Google the name of the author and you look at the other stuff they've written and you're like, okay, well, obviously I'm going to not take this to heart because I wouldn't be learning from a reliable or trustworthy source, right? There was a recent president who was always, giving false information, right? Not to mention any names, right? But
No, no, none.
um, So, where are you getting your information from, right?
Yeah.
Make sure that it's reliable, it's trustworthy, and don't just believe everything someone throws at you. Question it, and then continue to learn and challenge yourself to become better. So consciously, I could talk about learning and the ways and the methods and the techniques and the different types of learning all day, but we won't do that, especially on a Saturday afternoon. Spencer, subconsciously though, so let's say I know it all. I know the entire alphabet, but I refuse to use the letter C. So your name is now Spenner. Okay. So Spenner, tell us what's happening on the subconscious side.
Well, there could be a couple of things, that kind of like pop up and just ring some bells that I
Mhm.
think could really be affecting someone's life with relation to subconscious baggage and the emotion code body code. And
Yeah.
a couple of things that pop up into my head are no will to energies.
Okay.
Now, with that, there's actually something in the emotion code body code. It could be anything really. There These statements could be anything, but there could actually be a no will to acknowledge, a no will to hear, a no will to listen, or no will to see. And there
Mhm.
can also be like a no will to change. So if you have a couple of some form of variation of one of those or multiple, if not all of them, which,
Mhm.
let's face it, different periods of time, I'm sure
Yeah.
we've experienced a lot of that. That could play a massive part in
Mhm.
why we might not even want to learn. We think we know it all. We don't need to learn anything else. We're done. Like we said at the beginning, right? I'm done. I'm out. Like, oh, I
Yes.
know that. But to know and not to do is not to know. That's the thing, right? It's like, how
Yeah.
teachable are you, right? And I think,
Mhm.
we've been talking a little bit more about these concepts. Who do you know? Who do you listen to? What's your teachability index, right? Like, are you willing to learn, and are
Mhm.
you willing to accept the change it takes to learn, right? Because
Yeah.
sometimes we think we know it, but if we don't know it, or if we're not doing what we think we know, then guess what? We
Mhm.
don't know it. That bar
Absolutely.
none. Oh, we know how to be rich, but are broke and driving like an old beater, and you're like, oh, I like my 16-20-year-old car, like that's fine, but I know how to be rich. It's like, well,
Mhm.
there's a disconnect there. You don't, because you're not there. So with that, that's kind of what I want to talk about with this, but this also relates to energy healing, and this is something a little bit of a personal experience just for me as well recently. But for my fellow energy healers out there, or really anything, there's a lot of methodologies out there. For me, I find that the emotion code and body code is something that really, really resonates with me. It's something that really fits the bill.
Mhm.
Really ticks all the boxes on my value system.
Yeah.
And but the thing is there's a load of other amazing methodologies out there that I've actually come
Mhm.
across, and maybe not even come across yet, that I am open to looking at and learning about or more about.
Yeah.
Because if you're a person that's going to continue to go down this road, continue to do this work, there's always going to be other places where you can derive this information from. And quite frankly, when it comes to energy healing, all the modalities do very similar things. You're working with energies,
Mhm.
and any ways that you can kind of look at and get some new information to kind of get a different viewpoint of this over here, over there, and you can kind of discern what you think is going to be relevant in your own practice.
Yeah.
There's a few things that I've kind of gone back to and learned in the past that I wasn't even open to hearing before. Like, I listened to it, but did I really hear it? I probably had a no will to
Yeah.
hear or listen or acknowledge when I was going through the course before. But now, a new person, I go back, I look at that same material, and boom, lo and behold, it's like they changed the program. It's a
Yeah.
whole new program. And now
Yeah.
I'm open, and I'm a whole new person, hearing all this information again, basically for the first time. And then as soon as I listened to it, I was like, oh, I can immediately implement that into my
Mhm.
practice. So this is something that you want to consider. If this is something that you're going to do in any level of capacity of any, whether it's energy healing, whether it's business, coaching, whatever it is,
Whatever
there's
it is.
always going to be different aspects that you can incorporate into your business, and be open-minded as to what's actually out there. I mean, we use the governing meridian and muscle testing or whatever, but in the other methodology I'm looking at is something called thought field therapy. It's tapping techniques, and they use the different meridian systems, and there's different amazing things they talk about,
Mhm.
toxicity and polarity and psychological reversals and self-sabotage that we're doing that isn't
Yeah.
even covered in the body code. So it's cool to see all these different methodologies kind of mesh and mingle, and where you can see how they can kind of collaborate and work
Mhm.
together rather than being like in clash with each other. So
Exactly.
that's another aspect I really wanted to talk about. So that's kind of what's going on subconsciously and beyond, obviously.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that you'd like to add into that, Valley?
No, one point I really, really like that you said, Spencer, is that, um, look, a lot of times we're like, hey, I learned that years ago. I read that book, or I learned about that. But the thing is that who you are today is very different from who you were years ago.
Yeah.
Um, and how you're going to apply the information now when you relearn it is going to be very different than the way you would have applied it years ago, because you've evolved, you've grown, you've changed, you're in a different place in life. That's like, if I read a parenting book before having kids, and now I read a parenting book that my kids are 8 and 4, I'm going to think of things differently, or apply them differently, or I've been through scenarios, I'll be like, oh, I don't remember that information, but now I know how I could use that, right? So
Yeah.
um, really just be committed to yourself. Always be willing to learn, and be willing to listen to people's advice. Not the wrong people, of course, the right people, but because you don't know how that may impact you and how it may help you. So with that said, that's it for me. You know, we want to help you. Let's turn your life around. Let's get you to the best place you absolutely can be. Whether there's conscious blocks, whether there's subconscious blocks, whatever it may be that's holding you back from winning the battle against yourself, from being the best version of yourself, let us help you do that. We love doing this, as you can tell. We wouldn't be here doing a video on a Saturday if we didn't love it, right? So make sure that you reach out to us. It's super easy to do. Send us a message. Wherever you're watching this, you can direct message us. Check out our website at
Lead your ideal life.
leadyourideallife.com. I had a mind blank there. So www.leadyourideallife.com. You can watch our webinar at www.2020 Recovery Manual. And thank God it's 2021, but 2020 was a rough year.
It
Was
was
absolutely
interesting.
a rough year for a lot of people, and for others it was really great. Whatever it was for you, if you want to move forward, connect with us, and we've got your back. Okay. In the description, you can watch a cool video. It's actually a trailer to a docu-series that we're doing with the Inside Out Institute. Absolutely, really, really, really cool. So check that out. Reach out to us. You'll get a complimentary healing session or a complimentary coaching call, and let's get you going to wherever you need to go. All right. That said, take care, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Stay safe, and we'll see you again next week.
You bet. See